Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Always fear. Pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, chat. How are you? I may be a little rusty, but I am glad to be back. It's been a little break, but we're back, and we're doing something that worked out pretty darn well last time. We had good fun with it. We're ranking horror shorts tonight. I think we're still going to skew high on this, but we'll see how we go. Last time we ranked them a little bit higher than I expected, but let's see how it goes. A massive hi to everyone in the chat. I hope you are excited for tonight. Thank you for coming back. You never know how the algo is going to go, but it's good to see all the regulars in here. You're right, Mima, Eadwolf, good to see you. Dr. Prepper, hello. Patrick, Batman, and Baldwin, good to see you both. And I think I said hi, Dr. Pepper, yeah. And Greenwaldo, if you're still around. All, roll call if you're here, say hi. It's always good to hear from you. I would not be just ranking these myself, though. That'd be silly to do. No. I've got some fine people here with me for episode 139 here on Gary Plowshay Day. I've asked a couple of straight shooters to join me. How are you guys doing? Welcome back, Murgoot.
Gary Plowshay.
Yeah. 40th anniversary,
Yeah.
Like I say, as a straight shooter. A one-hit wonder, But...
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Hope everybody else is doing well. Gary Plowshay Day. Oh. And how are you doing, TCG?
I would just love to know where these fine people are, because the only fine people I see at the moment are in the chat. Good evening, chat.
Oh, they're back. They're loyal. We love our loyal chat. And of course, I've got to introduce you properly, that box guy today. Oh, you know, it wouldn't be Dub Feature Horror Show without you. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Crime after crime. If you fall, I will catch you.
Wow.
I'll be waiting. Crime after crime. It's
Wow.
that crime guy.
Wow. Moved away from the hip hop then.
I mix it up.
You do. Well done.
The other tab's got Daphne and Celeste in it, Could have gone that way. I was going to introduce you as a Daphne to my Celeste.
Oh God, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh gosh. Oh, hello, more people in. You've summoned everyone, TCG. Hello. We've got Mr. Gently Benevolent has woken up from his slumbers, cup of mellow birds in hand, and eager to join the horror short ranking. And John Gorris has kicked the action off very early with $10. Thank you so much, John Gorris. Saying, missed you, didn't do my homework, so just going to mostly lurk. That's absolutely fine. Take him as recommendations. It's all about atmosphere. You'll be fine with it. And Brundlefly, good to see you again. Yes, it's been a bit of a note. Let's start that again. I've lost my mojo. I've watched 3 weeks away, and I've lost the gift of the gab. I had my Thursdays eaten up, and I had my Tuesdays eaten up, and I couldn't make it happen. So we had a break, but we're back, and we're kicking off with something fun. We will not be doing Vincent Price biography tonight. No more Slice of Price tonight, because it would go a bit long. I'm going to try and get us from sort of a low point for Vincent back up to a high point. is what I'm going to try and do. That'll be a bit of a long session, so I'll try and do it for the next stream. We have got a short topic tonight before we get into matters, but before we do any of that, just a quick round of shilling. People's links are in the description. Murgoot, anything you'd like to shill, sir?
Just my Twitter at Murgoot. Do a little bit of everything. Been concentrating on geopolitics. Some gaming, some whatever I feel like at the time.
Which is a fine way to do it, to be honest.
So,
Yep,
as of
fair
right
play.
now, just Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it.
Fair play. How about you, TCG?
So I was hoping to get a new video out tomorrow, as well as do a community stream, community quiz stream. Unfortunately, the law of sod has bestowed upon me, and I've literally just got over perhaps the most rancid man flu that you can imagine. I've barely had enough energy to do my new job, which I had to sort of stick around for because I'm only like 4 weeks into it. So that wasn't ideal. But I can confirm that I am very much over it now, and I'm going to be picking the ball back up, and I'm going to be getting a video out as soon as I can. The video that I have in mind is to do with a shark and how a shark sparked a murder investigation, which technically remains unsolved to this day. So I will get that out as soon as possible. I also do have a couple of other sort of projects in the works, collaboration-wise. I can't say too much now, but when I am in a position to, I will announce more then. But yeah, just generally speaking, I'm sorry I've not been around that much, and I promise from March onwards, it'll be full steam ahead. We just crossed over 11,000 subscribers today, so I want to let's actually make it worthwhile.
Oh, well, congrats on 11k. Good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. And, well, for me own shilling, well, you guys know it's been a bit quiet, but it's certainly not been unbusy. I'll tell you, one of the first bits of bonus you can get is, I don't know exactly when, but there is going to be something dropping on the old Lotus Eaters. I was down there last week filming more stuff with them. If you guys liked my BFC talk, we started off a new series. We are covering the life of Stanley Kubrick. I don't mind saying this now because Harry went and mentioned it on their podcast today. So when that drops, if you get in there, show all your appreciation. That's all good, and then it makes it more likely that we do more of them. Although, frankly, I think there are enough Kubrick fans in that office that will just do it anyway. So that I don't know when that's coming out, but soon. Otherwise, just been very busy. Let's just maybe say that now is a really, really good time to join as a member. Just if you want to get your money's worth, I'd say now is a really good time. And you can do that either here on YouTube or via Subscribestar. Subscribestar is my preferred way, but whatever works for you, you'll get exclusive content, early release, today this would be a good month to do it. I'll leave that to you. Any way you want to show your appreciation is super welcome. Of course, you know how YouTube goes. Liking the video, leaving a comment, that's all helpful. Oh, hang on, what's this in the chat? I'm not officially part of the of the Spice Girls yet.
Hell yeah.
Okay. No.
You can't not go there and not be affiliated. So you are officially Scary Spice.
I'm saving the Westlife adjacent, Yeah, gosh, soon. Maybe be part of the crew. Anyway, yes. Any way you want to show appreciation is good, especially on the like button. That would be fantastic. But I will delay no longer. There is good news coming, and there's a good topic coming. Murgoot sent this to me, and I just thought this would be we've got to cover this, mostly because it's nice to be proved right, isn't it? Who heard about the Mary Poppins situation? Who heard about that?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Were you shocked?
No.
You were not.
No.
Oh, no. What's the matter? Have you ever used this bad? Should we call it the H word?
What's going to be the H word?
Well, the thing that got them in trouble. You
Oh.
see, I don't think YouTube will catch it. I think we can say Hottentots all.
Oh, Hottentots.
Oh, yeah. When you have to look it up in order to decide if you're offended or not.
What does that actually mean?
It's very, very old fashioned. It's I think it's a term, basically a term relating to a particular African tribe. I believe there was a famous photograph, sort of a. You might remember this from a while ago. I could be massively wrong on this, but do you remember Kim Kardashian taking a photo where she popped a bottle of champagne, and the spray of the foam comes out over her and lands into a glass perched on her plump rear? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I'm glad that stuck in your head. That was a recreation of a classic photo with an African woman, and the idea was to demonstrate a very different physique, typical of that region. That you could do that sort of with a generous rump. You could do that, and that old photo was highlighting that in a cheeky fashion, if you will. But that kind of woman was referred to as a Hottentot. And that photo refers to a Hottentot.
Right.
I think the fact that we basically have to bust out a dictionary is
yeah, it does seem a bit silly, right?
I was right. It refers to the Khoi tribes of South Africa.
Yeah, there we go. I think they might put that in there. It's it really reminds me. Do you guys remember way back in what was the first Avengers film called?
Avengers.
Was it just the Avengers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They had a bit of trouble with that because there was another very antiquated, naughty word in that. Loki flips out, screams at a woman, calls her a mewling quim.
Right. Okay.
And there was that. Is this still a swear word?
In the US, most people don't know what it means.
Oh no!
But
a lot of people think of perineum as a flower. What can you do? Yeah, it's one of these weird cases where who's offended by this? I think you have to take a university degree to find out it's offensive, but nevertheless, the BBFC decided that because of that, Mary Poppins has gone from a U up to a PG. And
here in the States, they were less about the Hottentot comment than about the soot from the chimney giving them blackface. That's the whole controversy here, which is just
really
yeah.
Goodness me! I mean, for us, it's Dick Van Dyke's accent is the most offensive thing in that film.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean,
yeah. But I want to point out, I called this. I saw this come in, and I could have. In fact, any one of you who watched this long ago when we were doing the history of the BBFC, you'll have seen this coming too, because I also highlighted it when I was on Lotus Eaters discussing the BBFC and the history of British censorship, that effectively the BBFC may have liberalised massively in spite of what it tends to tell you about itself. It was never that strict. But what it was really doing was removing one set of, shall we say, taboos that got you rated up and down rating things massively. Did you know The Shining has gone from an 18 to a 15?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm. Yeah, when I got my 4K version of The Shining, and suddenly I saw it was a 15. I was like, what? What's going on there?
Did they clip anything from it?
Absolutely nothing, but it's just in light of new standards, they reassess and decide, no, it's fine. This has happened with the areas of violence and swearing and boobs and bottoms and other anatomical parts. They've really liberalised that massively. But for other things, they've really got stricter. and those are, say, more political issues or issues of what they consider discrimination, that is where they've started tightening the noose, if you will. So I'll give you a few examples, because there was actually an article about this while. Actually, no, I'll show off some special learning before we go into that. One of the earlier cases is a film called Bedazzled, if you guys know that.
Bedazzled. That
Maybe
rings
the
a
Liz
bell.
Hurley version.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that might be it. That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, we all like the Liz Hurley as the devil. We all had a good time. Well, the original with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, that was quite light-hearted. They were concerned that it was blasphemous. You know, it's basically a man making the deal with the devil. Is it blasphemy? So they have to. So it was going to get a higher rating because of blasphemy, but they took a panel of priests to review it, and they said, "No, it's fine. It's fine." You have to find the right priests. I think that's a trick.
Yeah.
But, so it got downrated from a higher thing to a lower rating. Went down to an AA, and then it recently got rated up again. And it was uprated because at the start, Dudley Moore's character is so down in the dumps, unable to get the girl, that he tries to top himself. But he's so pathetic about it that when he tries to hang himself, he breaks the pipes and gets all wet, and it's a comedy sequence.
God, do you know what? If only Jeffrey Epstein had that luck.
Oh dear. But yeah, because of that, we don't joke about people unaliving themselves.
No, not at all.
And so
that's why Jeffrey Epstein didn't unalive himself.
Of course.
That's why I can make the jokes.
Yeah, good. So it's like that interesting switcheroo, and I thought I'd show you a couple more examples you may know. So Rocky, did you know Rocky?
I heard about this. Yeah, I heard they got an age rating increase as well. I didn't look into the reasons why, but I did sort of see like in the sub sort of headings of the Mary Poppins ones that they mentioned these films as well. I don't know.
What was Flash Gordon?
Enlighten me.
Oh,
upgraded.
Well, Rocky was upgraded for, I think, basically Paulie being a bit physical with the sister. Like it's. I mean, I'll be honest. That the way. Oh gosh, what's her name? Adrian. It is Adrian, isn't it? He screams.
No. It's Adrian.
Thank you. Yeah, like I do always find the way she's treated in the first one a bit creepy, to be honest. Let's just say it's a little more assertive than I'm used to. By the way, can we get an F in the chat for Carl Weathers?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
That was a sad one.
And let me guess, Flash Gordon was uprated because of Orientalism, or was it all the fan service?
100%. 100%.
Either that, or the BBFC were accidentally watching Flesh Gordon. Don't look at it.
The pasties of death.
Oh dear. No, you called it, Murgoot, 100% insensitivity. So we've got a few examples of this. Fellowship of the Ring was also moved up. There you go.
No
but
way.
That's a bit standard. That's just like violence and threat. That's a bit standard. They had a couple of ones where they moved up the rating when you move from VHS to DVD, because on a DVD you could pause clearly. So sometimes they said to prevent you pausing and zooming in and all that, you've got to remove a couple of frames, or we just raise the rating because otherwise people are going to freeze frame. Fun fact. So what I'm trying to get in here is, this is what I called, you're going to start seeing things uprated for discriminatory stuff, for things that are sensitive. I will put a bet on now. If this hasn't already happened, I will put a bet that you're going to see a lot of those Bond movies get moved up. They're going to get uprated. Right. You heard me saying it now. 29th of February, 2024. Those Bond movies, they are shooting up. Probably.
The biggest two will be, the first two will be You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever.
Ooh, why those ones?
One for insensitivity and Orientalism, where he dresses up as he's
Oh,
given
yes.
a facelift to become Japanese from Tiger Tanaka.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I could see them upping Dr. No for the same reason.
Oh, could be. I always thought Goldfinger, because I thought he's a bit direct with what's her name? Who's a woman?
Pussy Galore.
Oh, it was Pussy Galore.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm looking up Airplane now because I want to see what it's been rated. Because we may have had a change. Now, in fairness, part of the reason we can't guarantee they'll get it is you only get these ratings when they go before the BBFC. So if they don't, it's gone up. It was PG. It's moved to 12A.
Oh no.
Oh, bad luck, guys.
See, I kind of want GoldenEye's rating to go up because that scene with Famke Janssen.
Oh yes.
Xenia on a top in that sauna.
You want the uncut edition?
I mean, dear. You're in a sauna. You're already steamy enough as it is, and I mean, she's weirdly filthy in that one.
No bother. Well,
maybe they could do the same because Alan Cumming plays a Russian guy. You know,
does he?
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah, he's the guy who's like, I'm invincible.
Have you seen Alan Cumming is presenting the US version of The Traitors?
Oh, is he? I don't even watch the UK version of The Traitors.
No, I got weirdly into it, but yeah, he's hamming it up. Terrible, absolutely shameless stuff. So yeah, chaps, you've seen this BBC story about the BBFC. It is going to increase. You're going to see a lot of the old stuff targeted. Heck of a lot. This is,
GB. Sorry, GB. Phoenix Wright TCG. We aren't doing woodability scores. But if we were GB, I'm just saying.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, Octopussy physical. Could be. Wait, you're gonna keep an eye out for it, folks. Keep an eye out for it. And the other thing, the other thing is you might just get certain scenes cut, like it's happened on the on Netflix on streaming. They cut stuff out. So what I'm saying, I know loads of people have said it to you. Get yourself a physical copy, or maybe a download copy. You never know. You never know. Might be harder to get your hands on the unedited version these days. For some reason, Princess Leia making out with her brother still survives. What can I say? All right. Sorry, Murgoot, any last words on that?
No.
I misread that. All right. Well, that was our topic. And with that done, let's get into
the news.
Into the news. Yeah. All right. I'm going to... Oh, how will this work? Hopefully well. Okay, here we go. We'll switch to this tab. This is... Is that working all right?
That's working fine. And I love that we have the last batch of films on there as well.
Yeah. I want to upgrade this. So, we'll fill this in. I might... I don't know what happens when we fill a row. I might have to have some other plan, but we'll work with it. So where would you like to start off? Oh, for people who don't know, this is we're doing a ranking of horror shorts. We've got a whole selection here. I went for about 6. A lot of them were previously provided by Patrick Batman, if you're still around. Oh, you are good. Patrick Batman gave a great list. I picked a few from that. I found a couple of others. So thank you very much for the suggestions. We've all watched those, and well, I'm not even using tier maker, Mr. GB. I couldn't work it out, so I'm literally just doing this in Pixlr, because I'm cheap. So cheap, I'm not even going to move the annoying ads here, but it's okay. I know you'll be fine with it. With all that said, let's go into it. Murgoot, would you like to take first pick, my friend?
Yes, I'll go for the unedited footage of a bear featured on Adult Films YouTube channel. Starts out with a picture of a grizzly bear, and two guys are talking about, oh, look at his ears, he's so huge. And then it cuts to a commercial break for Claridril. And the voiceover targets where you're most, and my notes are, targets where you're most vulnerable. It acts immediately and lasts indefinitely. And it shows a mother with two children. Do you feel like you have to be in two places at once? And take Claridril. And she takes a whiff of it, and you realize she's driving down the street, and you realize the kids aren't in the car, and she's just driving along. And basically, she goes nuts. She sees a yellow sweater in the road, which matches her sweater. She stops, gets out, looks at it, looks up the street. She sees herself without the yellow sweater, who runs at her and assaults her and breaks her down. And then it flashes over to the house, and the kids are dancing around, finding packages, and mom jumps out of the boxes and chases them around the house. And then it cuts to various scenes. Mom's in the kitchen looking haggard and sick, talking on the phone. And then it cuts to the kids' room, and they're enjoying things. And mom's outside the woman, just creeping there like a demon appearing out of the window. And it flashes back and forth from the house to the mother crawling up the drive, beaten and bloody, and the car's in the middle of the yard. It's throughout this whole thing, the commercial is still playing, and it gives in fine white print at the bottom. Sometimes it's not even readable unless you freeze frame and focus on it. It gives all the disclaimers about what affects, like depression, suicidal ideation, committing suicide, psychotic break. And all the while, it just keeps ramping up the violence and the weird stuff. And it ends with the mother at night on the front steps to the house with the blue and white police lights reflecting off of her. I laughed my ass off through the whole thing. Disclaimers were just, mwah. It's done by Adult Swim. For anybody who isn't familiar with it, Adult Swim was the late night cartoons and sketch shows on Comedy Central channel, and then it moved over to YouTube. It's most famous for playing risky anime and Seth Green's Robot Chicken. And these guys really hit it out of the park with this one. It's not quite S tier. I definitely give it A tier just because it's so funny. It fits the American pharmaceutical ads so perfectly.
I think that's some context that we don't necessarily have. We don't see the American pharmaceutical ads. Like, TCG, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think I've seen this one before prior to it, but I didn't really get the same vibe out of it. It wasn't that it was bad or anything like that. It was just it took such a weird curveball direction.
Oh yeah,
and for me, it didn't really make it. It didn't. I couldn't really understand what was exactly happening. I didn't know if there was like I didn't know if we were going backwards and forwards in time, sort of if we were seeing one person having hallucinations or if there was more than one. Or
Oh,
it,
Patrick.
say that again.
Oh, Patrick Batman. I just watched a video called Unedited Footage of a Bear, but it was just gay porn. Kudos. Very nice. Utterly unforgivable.
But I did like the little disclaimers at the bottom of it, and I will admit, like I did watch it a couple of times to try and like see exactly what it was saying. Like even the first one that sort of pops up after, like the air quoting here, the ad part of it finishes, and you sort of swoop, like you sort of like transition into this piece, and it's like just little subtle things that it says that just sort of make you think, oh, hang on, that's a symptom. Like for example, use only as directed, serious neuropsychiatric events, including but not limited to depression, unalive ideation, unalive attempt, and completed unalive have been reported in patients taking Claradril. So it's like, wait, what?
One of the ones I loved was taking Claradril increases the likelihood of wanting to not take Claradril compared to a placebo. What?
That's it. There was another one which was Claradril tackles the side effects of taking Claradril.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very American TV centric. It's if you're American, you recognize it right off the bat as it's just the commercial, and then the commercial just keeps going as she goes downhill hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've seen. I mean, I've seen American adverts from things like when I used to watch like shows like Tarrant on TV, and they, you know, I'm sure. I don't know if you remember that horror show.
Oh, that is a blast from the past.
Yeah, and like they would show like international adverts, like funny adverts, and things like that. And so I can see the sort of commentary that Adult Swim were making with this. I just felt like. It almost felt to me like the actual performance side of it almost was kind of like a distraction to the to the like little disclaimers at the bottom. I kind of got like I was a bit uninterested in the stuff that was going on around during this, and I was more focused on right, when's the next one coming up? I want to read that and see what that says. You know. It didn't.
Interesting.
It didn't feel like it connected for me. But that being said, I mean, it definitely wasn't bad. They were obviously trying to make some sort of comment on sort of like, you know, pharmaceutical adverts as a whole. But it just went in such a weird. It was such a weird way to open it up with like the random footage of the bear. Advert comes up. My first instinct is, hold on, I've got premium. Why am I seeing this? It carries on.
Oh, it's convincing. It's I know it wants to keep throwing you off, and it does deliberately want to confuse you. I guess my struggle with this was how much do I want to try and unpick this versus how much do I accept it's just messing with me and just kind of let it wash over you. Like I found myself wondering, like when she first drives past the house and the cops are there, and one of them comes out crying, like, is that because it's her house and it's her kids? And I feel like I want to do a deep David Lynch dissection of this whole short, but then was it just messing with me?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So Patrick Batman has made redemption for his terrible but much appreciated pun, and followed up on a comment you had about the website, because you tried to go to the website, didn't you, TCG?
I did, yeah. I think it's long gone though.
But apparently a channel called Nightmind has a video on it, so if people want to look that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be worth doing.
I feel, do you know what, to be honest, I feel like a lot of the questions that I had about this would be answered if I was able to sort of deep dive into the things that it was saying, because it did reference the website a few times, like visit this website, visit claridgewood.com. There was also something, I think there was something else it mentioned to visit as well, but I can't remember.
All I know was it was a perfect parody of pharmaceutical ads and all the hellish BS that goes into them. And
Say that to that.
I'm very cautious about going to any of those websites ever since that that Tubby Girls diet page, Tub Girl. No, not again.
God.
There you go.
Not
I've
again.
saved that to my watch later, and I've just popped it in the in the chat for you two, if you wanted to check it out later. Because I feel like I do feel like this was kind of like it almost had that kind of ARG sort of element to it, where to really understand the context, you need to investigate further. And I think given that it was 10 years ago that this came out, I feel like a lot of the context was kind of missing from it. But I will definitely go and check that Nightmind video out. I've just saved it on the watch later.
Oh, nice.
And I'll definitely check that out later, and hopefully that'll give me a bit of a different perspective on it once that's done.
Yeah, I have the feeling this is about 10 years old. I think they were emboldened by the success of Too Many Cooks.
Right.
And I was torn. Do we cover Too Many Cooks or do we cover this? And ultimately I went for this, but Too Many Cooks I am very fond of. When I was first introduced to it, I was told, you're going to watch it and then you're going to hate it. And you're going to get so annoyed. And then you're going to want to immediately watch it again. And that was correct. So ratings-wise, what did you come down to ratings-wise, Murgoot? Where were you going to pitch this one?
I want to put it in A tier.
A tier? All right. TCG, any bets?
I kind of wanted to put it in the... Sorry, Murgoot. I kind of wanted to float around the B. The B tier. Again, I feel like because it's not the completed article. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Would you upgrade it if the Nightmind video?
I think probably.
Okay.
If I had the extra context, I think I would.
I'm torn on it. Like, I love the style, but I think maybe it needs a deeper. Our chat is very strong on an A for this one.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I will go with a preemptive A. I will agree with Murgoot for a preemptive A, on the assumption that this Nightmind video answers some of the questions that I had about it, or just fills in some of the gaps that I might have not picked up on.
If there's a puzzle in it, then that makes it an A territory for me.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, chat is very strong in.
Actually, no, that's true. Actually, no, that is very true. That's very true. It clearly did have a puzzle element. Further investigation was required, but unfortunately, as per most things in my purview, I'm late to the party.
A little bit of new metal in there as well. I like that.
Yeah.
New metal's cool again. We're unironically liking new metal again. It's all good. TCG, how about you? What would you like to go for next? We've got Teeth, Milk Teeth, the Dollmaker, the other side of the box, and Thresher.
I've got them all here. I really, really want to save two of them to last. So I think I'll go in order of my watch list and go with Milk Teeth.
Oh, Milk Teeth. Let's go. All right. I'll move that up a little bit. I'll have to get that all the way up. Oh, that looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Let's sort your layers out. Milk Teeth. All right. For anyone who did not see it, tell chat about Milk Teeth.
Okay, so the scene opens up with a young boy over a sink. He's got what looks like dental floss, and he's like vigorously going backwards and forwards in this on one of these loose teeth to try and get out. It's quite graphic. until eventually he manages to effectively like saw the tooth out from the root. It was obviously like a baby tooth, and it falls down the sink, and he doesn't catch it in time, and it goes down the drain. And he's like, "Oh man, that sucks." And then this voice from the sink calls out to him, and basically asks about the tooth, and he's like, that's my tooth. How much would you get for it? 25 cents. That's why I need you to give it back. And then the voice turns around and says, "Well, I'll give you this tooth, and it will give you more than you can imagine." And so he takes the tooth from the sink that's handed to him. It's a bit black and it's a bit gunky. Sticks it under his pillow. Wakes up in the morning. Load of coins under his pillow. Beautiful. So he goes and buys himself a brush, grooms himself. I should point out he lives in an orphanage, and gets lined up with the other kids. Like the prospective adoptive parents come along, don't pick him. Later on, he goes back to the sink, and there are a couple, like 3 lads, I think, and clearly like bullies or something. And they ask him where he got the brush from, and he said it was a gift from a friend. And they were like, "You don't have any friends." And then the voice calls from the sink again and asks for another tooth to give them riches beyond their wildest dreams. So one of the bullies. Now, at this point, I'm thinking they're going to knock one of his teeth out. But for some reason, one of the bullies turns around to the other bully and is like, give him a tooth. And so he does that.
Ginger.
Yeah, to be fair. So they take a tooth, and then like you get almost like it's almost like a montage really of all of these 4 boys going around, getting money, going to this shop, smashing their teeth out, getting more money, and the sort of cycle repeats. Parents come along, don't pick them, they carry on smashing up their own teeth, and it gets gradually more and more violent as to what they're doing, to the point where even the kid, like, he's smashing his face against the sink to like rip out teeth.
That was brutal.
Yeah. And as this is going on, this creature from under the sink is just sort of collecting the teeth and putting them in its gums, like lining up, getting a full set of gnashers. Anyway, towards the very, very end, the young boy gets in line, and these 2 parents come along, and they see him, and they're like, "We want you to be part of our family." And at first, the boy's saying nothing, but then when he's prompted to speak by the people who are running the orphanage or whatever, he opens his mouth, and he's very garbled like this. "Yes, I'd like to be here." And then they see that he's got no teeth, and they're repulsed by it, and he's upset. He's upset with that, and then I'm trying to think what happens after that bit. I think he goes back to the sink to call out for his friend, air quotes. I don't think he gets an answer, and I think he hits something, and then the creature then starts to. It kind of goes a bit crazy, actually, because the creature decides, right, now's the right time. He comes up from the sink, starts taking people one by one until it's just the boy and the creature left. And the creature gets close to the boy. Kid's crapping himself, as you would do in that sort of situation. And it ends with the creature taking out one of its teeth and then giving it to the boy, who then puts it back in like the open route. And then he sort of like smiles at the creature, and then it just ends.
Yeah, good summary. So, what's a starting bid for this one? Is there something in it that you loved, something that held it back? What do you reckon?
So for me, it was an interesting premise. It had a story, and it did have a through line. But what GB's just pointed out in the chat, I had this exact same sort of query. It's kind of like, they're only going to be able to do this a certain amount of times.
Yeah, on the other hand, Mr. GB, this is not fiat currency. This is actually backed by solid commodities. So really, what I'm saying is getting teeth futures. It's a way to go.
It would have been interesting. I think it would have been interesting to see if the boy, like, let's say, exhausted his resources, and then looked to other means to obtain the teeth. I would have liked to see it, but it didn't go down there, and that's fine. But it was, I think it was all right. But I don't know. Again, like with the first one, really, it didn't sort of capture me.
I would suggest that even though there's really good stuff in this, like I think the creature design on the budget they've got is really good. The director actually got to go on and make a whole series after making another short after this.
Okay.
But there's lovely stuff, like when you first see him go and buy something, you see the brushes next to the hammer. That's why I've gone for this shot, and I was like, oh, is he going for the hammer straight away? No, he's going for the brush, but it's a great setup. It's planted in your mind.
Yeah, I did think to myself, yeah, that's going to be used later on.
Yeah, and they handle. Oh, sorry, Murgoot, go ahead.
Just the fact that the orphanage store has a ball peen hammer in it, it's just one of those. It's a bit of dark humor, but it's kind of like, okay.
We have some questions following this,
Hammer.
Yeah, I think like the basic. There's some flaws in the basic premise of it, which is, our lads really going to whack their teeth out? Because is the money that good? I don't think so. Whereas if you have the kid who's got this kind of like pathological need where he really, really needs the money, then he'd consider doing that. Whacking his head, that would work. Or if bullies got the teeth, that would work.
Yeah, and if they got some sort of comeuppance for it, then yeah. But the thing is that this child's need wasn't money. The child's need was to be adopted, and but obviously there was the incentive of, I give teeth, I get money, I can then sort of brush myself up, look a little bit more presentable in the hopes that I would get picked. But at the same time, it's like you're doing yourself physical harm to get to that stage, to the point where it wouldn't matter how sort of well you brushed up or how nicely you dressed. The second you open your mouth, you're gonna demonstrably repel whoever's there. So you kind of, if he had done it with, I don't know, if he had lost a few teeth, some molars perhaps, the ones that you don't really see that often, you might be able to get away with it. But once you start messing with your canines and incisors and all that jazz, you're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah, true, very true.
And it's just whether he would have had that sort of like, yeah, I mean, I mean, it was good effort. But it's just whether he sort of would have had that sort of, that mindset, that understanding that actually, this could present a problem later on down the line if I go a bit too far with it.
Tooth are.
Wow.
Oh. Okay.
Wow.
All right. No, fair play. Did a good job with the effects, though, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
That's a tricky thing to do.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with the bit when he actually had no teeth and spoke, because like when you've got no teeth, you don't, because he spoke like his mouth was full, and like his mouth was sort of like very sort of puffy out, again because of probably the stuff that he had in his mouth to like give off the effect that he was toothless. So that wasn't too great for me.
Murgoot, any thoughts?
Oh, bye, mate.
Oh, we've lost him.
I've
He's
offended.
gone.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
but he was blatantly talking like he had a gum shield in his mouth rather than, I mean, I know people who have no teeth, and that they don't talk like that.
It's probably just the kid having the prop in his mouth was just a bit much.
That's it.
But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think he did a good job with it. It's a tricky kind of effect to do. It's one of those things you don't see very often. Do you remember Red Dwarf had to have Rimmer missing some teeth, and they just had the one where they just painted it black? I don't know if
I think
everyone's Red Dwarf knowledge is Maybe Dusty now.
My wife would know. This is the thing, right? I used to watch Red Dwarf a lot as a kid, but I have this. It's almost like a talent where I can watch a series, forget everything by the end of it, and go back to it, and like I'm watching it again for the first time. My wife's a bit jealous of that because we'll watch episodes of Only Fools, and I'll be sitting there creasing up, and she'll be like, "But you've seen this before. You're like, you know what's happening," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But I don't, and that's the beauty of it.
That is a talent. That is bless you. There's a lot of stuff I wish I could see again for the first time, and a lot of stuff I wish I could unsee. Looking at you, MILF Manor. Anyway, Murgoot. How you doing, man? Thoughts on Milk Teeth?
I thought it was well done. I agree on the effects of the teeth at the end, but I did like the tooth demon. That was very well done for a very low budget. And the killing spree was fun. It was half expected.
Yeah, I think we should have praised that a bit more. That was done very nicely. Spinning camera.
Mm-hmm. If we're going to start the ratings on this, I'd give this a solid B+, almost an A tier, but I could be talked into A tier.
I will not be trying to talk you into A tier. I think it's a gorgeous looking one, but I think the story's got some problems that, for me, put it at a B.
Okay.
There's just some basic, like, the style is all there, but there's just a few premise things, like, would they really knock all their teeth out? Really? It feels to me like this is something I would happily have a bit longer. I think this could have been a lovely, like, half-hour part of an anthology episode.
Yeah.
Anthology film. So I'd pitch it more at a B, like it's strong, but yeah.
See, I was thinking more along the lines of C.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But if we're giving the first one an A, based on the fact that, if I'm giving the first one an A based on like miscontext, then I could push to a B. But yeah, my initial gut reaction after that was a bit like, no, C.
Mima and Prepper are leaning for C.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
C
like
feels a little harsh.
B-.
B minus. I think maybe let's land it, because Murgoot could have been talked up to A. I think it's a solid B. You think C. Roughly put it in a. It should sort of strand them, but I'm just thinking these are quite sparse. Oh, I don't know. Patrick Batman's come in with a C. There's a lot of calls for a C here. I might go for it. Any objections?
Not from me. I say that would be my gut instinct. I would only increase it to a B if we were, looking at the Claradrill one and scoring it, because I would have put the Claradrill one at the B as a B and then C for the other one. But I've only increased it to an A based on a video that I haven't watched yet, which should give me additional context.
All right, fair play. Well, we can revise that the third time we do this, because I 100% will do this again. It was so tough choosing. I think I did find some shocking ones that I'm saving so we can get something in the E and F tiers. I've even got a couple of PSAs in my back pocket in case we get desperate. But all right, moving swiftly on, because we've got 4 to cover. I will cover teeth. And I'll get that one right at the top. Get your layers sorted.
Not that teeth.
Oh no, not that teeth.
If it was that one, we'd have Harrion on.
Oh, we should. I have threatened him with that. We did just get him on for the human centipede, though.
We did, yeah. Still recovering.
Bless. All right. Teeth is, as you can see, animated. It is basically stomach churning ASMR. And TCG described it as kind of like a poem. And yeah, I think it's in that line. It's like somewhere between poem, performance art. It's got the vibe of a very old school Edgar Allan Poe first person narration where someone describes something depraved. This is someone who's starts off describing the sensations they have around their teeth dominating their consciousness and becoming absolutely obsessed with it, with biting it, with taking all their teeth out, and then with wanting to replace them with new teeth. They start trapping animals, taking their teeth out, putting them in the gums so that they can have the perfect bite. It's a very simple story, but it's told with close-ups, imaginative angles, and so much ASMR style sound effects of slurping. Ultimately, your protagonist gets their perfect set of chompers, and one of the first things they do is manage to bite their tongue in half. It's a very special little horror short. And I wasn't sure where we'd go for it, but I thought, a couple of teeth shorts in the option. Let's go for it. And what really caught my attention was just that thumbnail of the knife being dragged over the teeth. That sort of set me shivering. And because I could just sort of imagine that, like viscerally, like it got a shudder off me. It was like one of those things that are so... You can have a real visceral empathy with them. Like when someone pulls a nail off or stubs a toe, you can just feel it.
Yeah.
And this whole short was stuff that I could feel and made me really uncomfortable. And when it starts with him like dragging the knife over them, I was really struggling to watch it. I don't know if you had that reaction as well.
Yeah, there was some there were some like queasy-ish moments, like sort of going back to the scene with the knife in the mouth. It's not just the fact that he's scraping the knife over the teeth, but he also pushes it quite deep in, which I don't know if you're like me. I've got the worst gag reflex. I'm just thinking, oh God, training to be a sword swallower, I guess.
That one didn't bother me as much as, and I studied the perfection of the animal world's teeth, and then he brought home the dead squirrel and the dead fox and was tampering with that. Just, yeah.
So loads of us getting the shudder reaction to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, this story, because I mean, it sort of starts off with a repulsion to the guy. The guy had a repulsion to his teeth, and didn't care about him at all. Cared more about his tongue because he liked the feel, like the smoothness of the tongue. And as he gets older, that you sort of see the balance shift, and he's like, there's like a small intrigue about the teeth, to an appreciation of it, to an obsession with it. And while he's getting more and more obsessed with his teeth, his tongue sort of, he doesn't really give a monkeys about that. And it's sort of typified by the end of the short, where he's like, when I was 71, I bit off the tip of my tongue. Like, not a care in the world.
Yeah.
Didn't care about it.
I think maybe they just needed some way to end it, right? Because it's such a weird story. How do you end it? What's your finisher? And then, oh yeah. What are they going to do there? He loves he uses a tongue to feel all of them. He's always running it over, very memorably and noisily.
Yeah.
Murgoot, did you get a sort of Lovecraftian Edgar Allan Poe feel from this?
More Poe, or some of Poe's imitators, lesser imitators. It didn't work for me. It really didn't. The end was predictable, and it just didn't hit at all. I mean, the only cringeworthy part was the animals. The rest of it, I was just like, okay, let's go. Come
Not
on.
even the fly. Not even the fly.
Nope.
I mean, it had Richard E. Grant in it. I mean, in terms of his narration of the story, wonderfully told.
Oh,
You could
great
tell,
voice for it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, proper professional.
I find it hard to guess the budget of these because this was on Alter. In fact, Teeth, Milk Teeth, and 2 others are from Alter, and some of them have got a heck of a budget to them by the look of it. If they're getting Richard E. Grant in,
Yeah, I know. Unless he agreed to do it as some sort of passion project, I don't know.
Well, it's possible.
I
I
mean,
found it really weird when he turned up in Logan.
I mean, it's got nearly 13 million views. Oh,
Yeah.
The ad revenues there. The last one, hang on, what did we look at? Milk Teeth was 10 million. That was that was after Teeth. So don't know what that is in ad revenue, but
I get the feeling Alter is more of an aggregator than actually funding these, but I would love to know. I don't. If anyone has any details on that, I hadn't actually looked into it, but I have been on a bit of an Alter binge over the last few days, so I should actually look into. I presume if you put your horror short on there, they give you a very good cut.
Maybe
I can assume. But yeah, this is. I didn't have too much to say. It's a visceral. It's a really simple story, very, very visceral, very much a sensory experience, well put together. There's not all that much in it. Tell you what, I'll let you guys put a bit of an opening bid in there.
I'm gonna go. Again, I'd probably give it about a C.
I'm gonna give it a D.
Good.
It did not.
I was trying to be charitable then, but I'm happy to go with D. For me, it wasn't so much of a horror of sorts because I mean the animation for a start. I think because it was animated.
Yeah, it's a barrier.
It lacked that realism, and like I said to you, sort of backstage, I felt like it was more of a poetic piece than a horror, and if we're measuring it as a horror short, I just don't think it qualifies.
No,
it's disturbing. It's disturbing.
Yeah.
And there are some repulse sort of inducing moments, but I don't think it does enough to sort of score high on the tier list, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to put it higher, but I will bend to the will. I also see chat is not a huge fan of this. Folks, do chuck your own ratings in if you've managed to see it. It's always appreciated.
They weren't real critters, Mima. Don't worry, they were just cartoon drawings.
It's an interesting thing, but it's really hard to get the kind of horror when you're using an animated medium. You have to sort of build up great connection to the characters if you're going to get over that sort of animation hurdle, even though the sound effect sells it so well.
Oh yeah.
I just I know if this were a real life version, it would be jumping up a couple of levels.
I think
viscerally very unpleasant.
Yeah, I think so. Like I say, I mean, in terms of it being a story, yeah, it was great. I really liked it. Like I say, Richard, I think getting Richard E. Grant on it, I think he was probably the perfect choice for it because the tonal delivery and all of that jazz, really complimented the piece. But yeah, I just wasn't really that bothered by it, really.
Well, fair play. I'll move us on just because I can imagine that others might take up a fair bit of discussion. So Murgoot, over to you for the 4th choice.
I'm going with Thresher, featured on the Mike Diva channel. And this
Yes.
seems to be directed and produced by a Spanish or Latin company, just judging by the names. I didn't
Yeah,
get
this
all
was a
the
much bigger production than a lot of
Mhm.
the stuff I feel. Like, there are a load of people coming in to do different elements in this.
Yeah. It opens with a record player, old timey record player playing opera, and you see a man in tattered clothes, and it pans around the room a little bit, and then you're shown him uh, dancing with the dressing mannequin and writing in the logbook, and then it shows you the door that's chained and padlocked, and he goes over and does that, and then writes the combination that didn't work in the logbook. And it shows him getting bored and playing the music again and dancing with the dressing mannequin again and going back to the padlock. And the next time he goes to the padlock, he starts having images of demonic entities and flashes of a horrifying world outside.
Hmm.
And then he goes back to doing things again. And then the record player and the clock stop. And he looks around and he sees a door that's ajar in the corner. And he stumbles upside down, up the stairs into an attic with a lot of trinkets and bric-a-brac and dollhouse. And he's slowly going through, and he looks up in the back corner, and there's one of the demons standing there. He runs down the stairs and starts going through more combinations on the lock, more combinations on the lock. He looks back and tries some more, and you just see demons appearing behind him. And just as they're about to get to him, he unlocks the padlock finally and struggles with the chains, gets the doors open, slams it shut, and then turns around and sees a Lovecraftian hell world with tree-like entity and things floating in the sky. And then the demons take him, and then it flashes to a laboratory where the doctor's looking over his dead body, and then an agent, you could assume he's like a federal agent. Well, did he get beyond the door? Did he get outside? And don't know. If not, oh well, get the next subject. And
I think that the line they used that I really liked was, "If he'd made it, we'd know."
Yeah.
Which was kind of heartbreaking because he's made it, but there's no sign. Oh, it's good tension.
And the agent leaves, and the doctor bends down, starts moving the sheet, sees something, looks over, and the tentacles sprout out through the chest and grab his face and fade to black.
It's a horror short. We like our last second jumper. That's what we love. It's got to be done.
Yeah, I love the Lovecraftian themes and the secret agent, the federal agent or whoever it was, talking to the scientist, and just leaves the mystery of why they're having him plumb the depths in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, you know why.
It's like a mix. It's like a mix of Portal, No Escape, Cube, and Hieronymus Bosch. You know,
And the X-Files. Yeah.
true. Yeah, you got to throw that in.
Yeah, X-Files or Delta Green. Don't mess. Somebody's messing with things they oughtn't to. The effects were okay, but I just loved the premise of the story and the Victorian or Edwardian set piece with the old-timey record player, and then wondering why he's locked in this house, and just the obsessive writing down of the combinations he's tried doing the Towers of Hanoi progression on the number lock, and just obsessively writing it down. And the fact that he has to take a break, gets bored, and dances with a mannequin just shows how far gone he is.
Oh yeah, that really worked for me. Like, it looks undoable. It looks impossible. It's not impossible to get through those 5 or 6 padlocks. It would just be mind-numbingly boring and frustrating.
Well, I couldn't tell if it was. I believe it was only a 4-dial number lock, which would make it a traditional Towers of Hanoi problem. But it would take a long time to do it, but it is doable, especially if you get lucky. But it's just the obsessive, I need to get out of the house, I need to see it. And when he finally gets out of the doors and slams them shut, the relief you feel, and then turn around and see the black and gray and blue hellscape that's waiting for him. And then the demons reappear and just fade to black. I've always been fascinated with Lovecraftian imagery. I've always been a fan of it's a variant on a locked room mystery, only he's the one locked in trying to get out. And then the government official and the scientist just added that nice little twist to it that really fascinated me. I've always loved the X-Files. I've always loved the tabletop role-playing games, Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green, which is a modernized version using American and British intelligence agencies.
That's new to me. Interesting.
It was done mid-90s, and then it was reprinted or recreated in the 2010s. It's kind of out of print right now, but they're brilliant. And they're horrifying in the scenarios in there. And just the look of desperation followed by the look of relief followed by the utter horror of what he's trapped in just really spoke to me.
The fact that his platform just kind of terminates, there is no going beyond it, is absolutely, it's a brutal joke. And that landscape, that sort of Hieronymus Bosch landscape is, it's very good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best Lovecraftian landscape we've seen. Unironically, I would say, what's it called?
Underwater?
No, I mean, I loved Underwater. I was going to say The Void is an amazing Lovecraftian, like that kind of reveal shot. But I want to say, is it DIE Fantasy? That freaky music video that I sprung on TCG and Harrian. Unironically, that Lovecraftian landscape at the end is perfect.
Yeah.
Just forgetting the scale of things you cannot comprehend. Oof.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That type of thing has always fascinated me. It really has. Just going beyond. And they did really well with the budget that they had.
Yes, it was tight as well. I thought it was quite tight. TCG, any thoughts on this from you? This one win you over?
I mean, it was all right.
What was holding it back?
Do you know what? This is going to sound stupid, and I've just sent you some pictures on X, but at certain angles, this guy looked like a young Joe Rogan, and I couldn't unsee that.
Hang on. Oh no. Hang on. Oh, it's not. I've never seen young Joe Rogan before.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
I gave you a very interesting picture of young Joe Rogan.
He looks like he needs to be sitting on a sofa.
It was very meme worthy.
Look up Joe Rogan Fear Factor.
Yeah.
Weirdly, he kind of reminded me of like a buff Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh God, no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. It was all right. I appreciate.
Jamie, can you pull up the codes for these locks?
Yeah, pull up the lock picking lawyer.
Sounds like Mr. GB knows a heck of a lot about that. Mr. GB, I am intrigued.
It was all. I just felt like it was all right. I mean, I get that it's very Lovecraftian themed, and when you sort of go down that route, the whole point is that you're left with questions. There's a lot of the unknown and all that stuff. But I just sort of came away with it like, and maybe again this is it's probably silly because again it's Lovecraftian. It's probably the intention, but I came away with more questions like why is he under? Why are they? Why is he under? Why are they trying to get him to go through these? Like what's the objective? Is there a threat that they're trying to understand, or are they just trying to gain access to an unknown realm? Like what is the actual purpose of it? It just seemed a bit pointless. Now, if there's a video from Nightmind deep diving into this, then I will be more than happy to look into it further. But I think and the CGI for me was a
little bit weak.
Yeah. But like I say, it was all right. It was all right. Definitely wasn't. Actually, hold on. Let me look at the list. Yeah,
Definitely
probably wasn't.
Could have been expanded out to like 40 minutes or 45.
Oh well,
minutes.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think because we got some of the ones that we covered have got a double run time, and I felt those ones worked a bit more strongly. But I think it depends on the story itself. Like we didn't cover it. We're not covering it here. But there was that one I showed you just before called "Man on a Train" that my wife recommended to me, and that's 4 minutes 20, and that's effing brilliant. It's so simple. It is so simple. But in terms of like the notes that you want to hit with a horror, it does that, and it does that spectacularly. With this, about the same runtime, a few minutes longer, it kind of felt a bit generic for me. Generic spooky situation. Yeah, I needed a bit more, if I'm completely honest. But it wasn't the worst one. It was all right.
Fair enough. It is a mere 7 minutes 41.
Mm.
I'm torn on whether this is one that you want to expand and give more detail, or whether just it. How can I say? It's so full of mystery. There's a line where it's like you can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Any answer you give would possibly disappoint, but
Yeah,
there's also you don't want to go full J.J. Abrams mystery box.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, there is a real fine line between, whether a bit more exposition could help or hinder it. To be honest, I'm kind of with Patrick out on this. Actually, I think you might mention it as well, Murgoot. Perhaps like a movie. This would have been better as a movie. I think like a full length one.
If this was the opening of a movie,
then I'd be invested.
That would be pretty strong.
because,
A
like I
good
say,
answer the questions
Dr.
over the
Prepper,
movie,
he did
but
look-
this is a tight opener.
it left, because it left me with more questions, and I feel like, you know, if at that stage of the film, I'm like, right, okay, I have questions, I'm invested. But when when it's ending and I've got those questions and there's nothing, I'm kind of like, I'm you know, I don't get that that sort of same satisfaction as some others who might be like, oh, I love the mystery element, I love the mystery. I kind of want things to be closed off, even if just a little bit, because I get it. Again, with Lovecraft, you're not always going to get the answers, but you can kind of work bits out.
It
But
could
I
have
just felt like I couldn't do it.
easily been the opener to an X-Files, really spooky X-Files episode.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, if this was a full length film and this was like the opening scene, brilliant. Let's go for it.
Yeah, and I agree with Dr. Prepper. He does look like a young Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
There is another thing that we really need to mention about this, about the guy who made this. Is like,
Okay.
weirdly enough, this is the guy who made the famous Japanese Trump commercial.
The what?
Oh God, that was.
Shall we?
As I told
we?
you,
I think we
in
should
the
do it.
previous conversation, it was just horrifyingly funny. Doki doki.
All right, we're doing it. We're doing it.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
So all credit, Mike Diva. You're amazing. This is great stuff. You're so good, etc. Tell me if you can hear this.
We can hear it.
Yeah.
What the?
It's all good, man. Just go with it. just vibes. Just beautiful vibes.
You Trump! You were the greatest president! I write the dilemma of the Trump.
Oh, you just gotta soak it in.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow.
Feel like shit, man. Just want him back.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
2016.
Right. I'm telling you now, right? If this isn't in the 2024 Trump campaign trail, I will be extremely, extremely disappointed. So much so that I will withdraw I'll withdraw all my support for the Republican Party as the based American that I am not. That's fucking brilliant.
I just, I couldn't believe it was the same guy. I was like, saw Mike Diva,
Wow.
like, wait, I know that name.
That was almost as funny as Shane Gillis's Trump thing the other night on SNL.
Gambare
I missed
Masani,
that one.
Trump-san, etc.
Trump as the blue llama was just
That's
what the heck?
Oh, good times, good times. I shouldn't have played it.
That's going in the watch later list.
That's the thing you need Night Mind's video on.
Yeah.
If
I
for
need
any
him
of
to
you
explain.
who hadn't seen that before, I'm glad to have introduced you.
Oh wow.
Wonderful. So yeah, creative chap, and from his channel page, he's getting paid to make actual stuff.
We are
Paid to make
downloading that
adverts.
in full HD.
Oh, you love to see it. Yeah, so interesting consensus. I think from talking about that, I think the idea of this being the opener to a movie is strong. You could do a lot with this. But for what it is, I don't feel it outstays its welcome.
Oh,
but
no,
where
not
are
at
we going to
all.
put it in the ranking? Where is it going to end up?
I want it in A tier, definitely. It's not good enough to be S tier, but it's definitely A tier for me.
No, see, I'm leaning more. I would go as high as a B,
Ooh.
but I don't know. Yeah, B. I personally would go with B.
I like it a lot. It's got its flaws. I just the ambition there, the presentation. It's definitely not S tier for me. It is like I can go either way. I'll be led by chat, which is not helpful because Dr. Prepper is going for a B and Patrick Batman has this at an A plus. Chat, start swinging. Get those votes in, chat. Let me know. I could be swayed on this.
Tell you what,
Like the
they start doing that.
effects drag it down for me. I think they show the hellscape a bit too long. The attic section I don't like as much, but then the rest of it just looks so good. I loved the way that he was trying to entertain himself with silliness, and the shots that blended it together looked great. So that brings it up. I don't know. I'm torn.
While the chat are deciding, I'm just going to quickly nip out for like 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Chat, you can get that deciding vote if you get in now. But I don't know. B. Maybe it's the inner Asian parent in me, but I feel like B is too harsh. You know?
Yeah, the only reason I didn't give it an S tier is just because of the graphics. I mean, it was very well done. It's like a teaser opener to a very harsh X-Files episode, or I could see if they redid Night Gallery, I could see them using this as an opener for one of the episodes.
Outer Limits could be a bit of an Outer Limits one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's an A. That's what I'm going with. I just B just feels so harsh. It's got a stumbling block, but it's because I want to watch it again. I want to see more from this world, and that is what I think has to take it over the line. I'm hungry for more. So with that said, we should be going to TCG for the next one, but I know what he's going to want to cover. And I don't want to steal that from him. In fact, kind of the problem is I've got a feeling we're looking at 2 S tiers. I don't want to bias it too much, but we're looking at packing that S tier for these last 2. What do you reckon?
Not for me, but I'll give them a high score, but they didn't hit me the same way that Bear or Thresher did. But that's just me.
Oh, that was another thing. We didn't even talk about the title of Thresher.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think about that until afterwards, but it's a really good title. If that is leaving anyone behind, especially if you're American, fair enough. But so Thresher is from threshing. If you are threshing your plants, you're effectively sieving them so that you sort it and get the stuff you really want, and you keep the chaff out. So if you're harvesting barley, once you've dried it, you put it through a thresher, and then you've got the oats you actually want, and
separating
the rest
the
of that would be
from
fodder.
the chaff.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we find out, this guy is being put through a test. They're doing lots and lots of them. You know, from the sort of business-like manner that they just move them through, they're clearly processing a mass. Therefore, the test is kind of like a thresher.
Ah, okay,
Great
okay.
title.
Not bad. That makes sense.
There we go. With that said, TCG, over to you, my good friend. What would you like us to cover next?
Right, okay. We're going to stick with the list, the order of the playlist. Hang on, let me just get it up.
Mhm.
Make sure I pick the right one. My list isn't coming up now. Great. That's fine. I think it was. Where'd it go? Here we go. It was Outside of the Box. There it is. Other side of the box. Other side of the box.
Woof. There it is. There's your boy.
There's your boy. Now, this one, you know what? I tell you what. This and the next one we were going to cover by far were my favourites. When this happened, when you see this guy for the first time, I actually, oh my god,
This creepy looking
actually
dude.
freaked me out throughout, and
Stevie.
it reminded me of the other shorts that we watched. Oh god, I can't remember the Lights Out. It really reminded me of that, and like and like other sort of like long form horror films that we'd seen, like where, oh god, what was it called? Was it Smile? No, it wasn't Smiler, was it? Smile, where like you're constantly being followed. It felt like
It Follows.
It Follows, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Smile is really good though. I know
Yeah.
people did it down. No, that film is really good.
I
loved
liked it. Yeah, I liked it. But yeah, so this starts off with a couple at home, getting ready for dinner, obviously being quite flirty with each other because they're clearly
that was
into each
filth.
other. It was utter filth. Utter filth.
Absolute schmutzig.
Yes, but very, 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 very funny. And then they get a knock at the door, and it's one of their old friends or former friends, whatever. I can't remember his name now. Sean, that's it. And
Sean, her ex-boyfriend.
They're like, oh, I don't really want to see. The woman's like, I don't really want to see him right now, and he's like, oh, and the boyfriend's like, oh, I'll handle it. So goes to the door, opens it. Oh, hi mate, how you doing? And he's like, he's got this box and a card. And he's like, oh, is what's her face around? And he's like, nah, she's out. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, comes inside, and he's like, oh, you got a present? He's like, yeah, I got you something. And he puts the box in his lap. He's about to he puts the box to one side. He's about to open the card, and then Sean says is it Ben? I think his name is. Is it Ben?
Maybe.
I'm calling him Ben. I'm calling him Ben.
Ben's a good name.
I'm calling him Ben. And he's like, oh, open the box first, because then the card will make sense later. And so he opens the box, and it's just like this black hole all around. And then all of a sudden, like, Sean starts getting a bit teary, and he's like, I've got to go, man. I'm sorry. I've got to go. And so he goes. And he's Ben's looking at this box, really confused. And I'm going to bring in the other woman now. She comes in. We're going to call her Susan. Let's call her Susan. I'm terrible with names.
Let's go with that.
Anyway, Susan's like, oh, what's up, Ben? And it's like, oh, he just gave me this. And so they're looking at this box, and they're really confused. It's like, it just looks like there's a never-ending black hole. And so Ben grabs a pencil, puts it over, and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, no, I just want to try something. And he drops the pencil into the box, and like there's no sound. Like it just falls straight through. And he's like, that's a bit weird. So he goes to put his hand in, and she's like, no, don't do that. You don't know what's in there. And then they sort of have a little chat about what to do, and they sort of turn away for a moment, and then when they turn back, boom. You see this face, and it's like, oh god, no. I know where this is going. I don't like it. And he gets the card, opens it up, and he reads out the card. It's like, you can't, basically the rule is you cannot look away from the box. It wants you to look away from the box, and it doesn't really elaborate much more on that. So he tries to call Sean on his mobile, and it goes through to answer phone, and he sort of leaves a message. Susan's standing there staring at the box, and she notices that the guy inside the box is just watching Ben watching him, and she's like, why is he doing that? And he's like, I don't know. So he tries to phone Sean again, but all of a sudden a voice comes from the box. It's Ben's voice, and then Susan's voice, and he's like repeating back what they said, and oh my god.
Yeah.
And then he's like, right, okay. Ben decides, look, I've got to find Sean. You can stay here and look at it, because as long as we look at it, it's fine. Or as long as one of us is looking at it, it's fine. He's like, it's got to be me that goes. I have to be the one to find him. Okay, yeah, she says. Gives it. I'm watching it back. Gives her a knife, and he's like, any issues, give me a call. Anyway, so he goes out in his car and he's driving towards Sean's place. He phones up and he's like, oh, I'm really sorry. He's like, what the hell is this box? What are you doing? Why is it telling me? Because he tells him to go and speak to Sean. And he's like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. Why? And he's like, but why would the box tell me? He's like, the box lied to you. He's like, I didn't even know it could talk. And he's like, hold on a minute. Where are you?
That was so good.
Yeah, and he's like, where are you? He's like, I'm on my way to see you. And he's like, but where's Susan? He's like, he's at home with the box. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, it's fine. She's looking at the box. He's like, no, only you. I gave you the box. You're supposed to keep looking at it. And he's like, oh my God. So he turns around, goes back, gets back to the house. Susan's nowhere to be seen. Knife's on the floor. He then
and it's
searching.
wet. It's like
it's
wet like he is. Just like this
God,
thing doesn't bleed. It just drips.
Yeah. And then he goes around looking around the house, and it's in the shower. Eventually, is it in the shower? Yeah, it's in the shower. I'm pretty sure. And he's like, "What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?" But then there's more of them, and then he gets like cornered, doesn't he? Like towards the end, he gets cornered between like on the stairs. He turns on a light and he can see that the thing's there, and then turns on another light, and then the other ones that you can't make out are getting closer on the stairs, and then he turns the light on again, and he sees that the thing that was in the box originally is now reaching for a light, and then I can't remember exactly what happened. Oh, God, I can't remember, but it freaked me the fuck out. Eventually, the lights go out, and that's it. He's done.
Yeah,
that's right. Because it's not the lights that are going out. He's just looking. He's having a look away.
He has to look at the ones getting closer to him.
That's
and the
it.
second he does that,
yeah, it's done, and then the film ends.
Yeah,
Peak
Dr.
short
Prepper's
horror film.
comparing it to Nightmare on Elm Street, but Butterfly Kisses, yeah, definitely. I mean, TCG really nailed it by saying it's like It Follows, because it really is the idea that someone gives you the curse.
Do you know what I love about it as well? Like it's just happened as I'm rewatching it back, right? And it's like when they turn around, they're like, oh, we'll find out. Like what happens if we look away? And Susan's like, whatever her name is, she's like, oh, let's look at we need to. That's what we need to find out. And so they look away for a second, and when they turn back, he's got his fingers sticking out the box.
Yeah, the humor on that. That could have been worse.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that could have been worse. It's kind of like, it's like, what do you want? What do you want? No response. I mean, at that moment, I'd be going back to Milk Teeth, grabbing the toffee hammer from the counter or from the shelf behind them, coming back. He probably would have moved from the box a little bit by then, but I would have taken the box with me and held it out. He ain't moving, and then just get back in the box.
I get the feeling she tried the old knife on him and that just didn't work, but that's why the knife's all wet. It's, I mean, oh gosh, they try. I wasn't sure initially when they tried a little bit of that Joss Whedon dialogue, that little bit that laughy, jokey stuff. It didn't matter. This got scary. This got unnerving.
This actually freaked me out, especially like I say. I mean, like the thumbnails and all of that jazz. You know, it shows you. It shows you what it looks like initially. So you're expecting to see that, but it's just the way it sort of just happens. Oh, mate! It honestly, I was sitting there watching this, and when it happened, I was like, "Oh God!"
Good little supernatural revenge flick.
Yeah.
it takes a few pivots, you know. It does take a few pivots, but gosh darn it, that's fine. The rules are laid out nicely. The fact that it manages to recruit, okay. I started thinking of reasons of how that was happening. It's all good. It's not stretched out. This is still a compact story, but I just love that thing with the anything where you've got the scenario, you're getting the rules laid out. Brilliant stuff. You got, as long as you can introduce whatever weird thing you like, as long as you let us know what the rules are, so we understand what we have to be tense about. That works, and that really worked here.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the last, unlike the last one, where kind of like it, I say, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. With this, there are very much unanswered questions, like how does the box work? How did the last guy get it, and all of that jazz. Like that's fine. But the focus wasn't necessarily. It just works so well. It just like there's times when not knowing is cool, and like I say, if the last one we watched, Thresher, was a little bit more was a little bit longer, perhaps I could have got around it, or even the first one, the bear in the woods one. Yeah, I for me, man, I just loved it, and also the fact that like I'm calling him Ben, completely misunderstood the rules, because I sort of realised early on, like that the twist is blatantly going to be that this is his gift, and as such, he's the one who's responsible for it. So like the second he walked out the house, that's it. He'd condemned his girlfriend. Like I'd already sort of clocked that on, but even still, like it worked.
We also got the subtle signs, I think, that he was a bit of a wuss, bit of a coward. Like,
yeah, like why does it have to be you, mate? Why can't you send your missus out? Like,
well, yeah, the way he doesn't send Sean off, he kind of wusses out.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
come in, Sean, buddy.
Yeah,
like you already got the feeling like he backs down quite a bit. So obviously, when he gets a chance, he's gonna get the heck away from this.
Yeah,
his name is Ben. Oh, and it's Rachel. So I'm just looking through the comment section now. So from Chad Carson 2946, this was 2 years ago. He says, "Quote: Don't let Ben leave the house." Ben, 30 seconds later, I'm a dip.
And yes, Mr. Gently Benevolent, that was one of my thoughts. What's in the box? All I could hear was Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Someone else said it's so crazy to imagine, and that's another thing as well. Like, it's so crazy to imagine the horror Rachel felt when Ben first drives away, and the thing begins to crawl out of the box despite her looking directly at it. Like, imagine that. Like that made me, yeah.
And you had all the clue from the fact that it only looks at Ben.
Yeah. So again, why are you the one who has to look at it? It's looking at you, bro.
Yeah. Oh, Murgoot, how about you? What was this a hit?
It was a bit predictable for me. It was well done. It was spooky at the end. It was a decent revenge story, enough to... It's the realization that he did it to him on purpose, his revenge for taking his girlfriend. That's inferred, but it was easy to pick up on. Just, it added to the fright factor. If I can give my score a bit early in this,
sure.
I give it a good solid A.
All right, cool. I can see that. I had I don't know if it was definitely revenge, but I think Sean's delivery was great. Like, there was all sorts of little tensions there. Like, you just pick up from the start. You kind of get the feeling like there's a class tension as well. Like, they've done all right, and they're kind of, they're looking down on Sean a little bit, and that sort of added to the tension. I thought that was just really nicely done. But so much in it works well. Also, yeah, not hugely original. Let's be honest. we basically do have elements of It Follows in terms of passing a curse on, the having to look at them at all times thing. Your obvious reference point is Blink from Doctor Who, to an extent Lights Out, to an extent Butterfly Kisses. But I was, okay, last night, no, not last night, Tuesday I was recording a commentary for the Thai horror film Shutter. And in that, they are wildly pillaging from Japanese horror, from some American horror. But what they do with it is really interesting. I've said it many a time. Horror is often the same darn plot, but it's how you present it, how you style it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, definitely.
So, in terms of style, in terms of things that land, even if the pair of them got a little bit saucy at the start, I mean, I lean S tier on this one. I definitely lean S tier for me. TCG, we've got an A pitch, we've got an S pitch. Where are you landing on that one?
S.
Nice.
Sorry.
It's a strong S.
Yeah, I'm still like, again, I've just watched sort of watching it back, like as watching this, and like again, it's still wince inducing. That final bit, like that the absolute terror. I get that it's a little bit predictable. I can kind of forgive it though because of the runtime. You got to get the rules in early, you know, and it just. I think it also kind of just needs it because again it almost has to show Ben's cowardice, if you will, because again it clearly states that only Ben is the one who can't leave the house. Ben. It's established that it's looking at Ben. It's obviously tracking Ben, but yet he's still
out to the stower.
Yeah, he's still like, yeah, love, this is your problem while I go and find your ex-boyfriend or whoever, whatever his relationship was to the pair of them before. I think like a business partner or something like that. But yeah, it's like you don't have to be the one. Like anyone in that right mind would kind of be like, actually, yeah, remove her from the danger. You like. What the fuck? This is so good. This is so good.
You could see it. Oh my gosh! You could get longer in it if you have them deal with the box. Like, oh, can we try and rid ourselves of the box? Can we try and set fire to it? I'm glad they didn't. I think this was pretty darn tight, and the crowd of creepy buggers at the top of the stairs. That sticks with me. Strong S. Strong S. Leaving us with one final one, the Dollmaker. And let's get our layers straight again. This is the most popular video on Alter. And I was hesitant to go for it.
And it also has age restriction on it.
It does. And I have the feeling that YouTube did a little bit of enforced censorship on it.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Which is a tad sad. But nevertheless, this is one of those ones that I feel, how can I say? I'm going to actually try and not spoil this one. I think everyone should be able to enjoy this fully. So I will keep the details a tad light and just give you the basic scenario. This may not last. We may end up spoiling the whole thing, but I'd like to avoid it if I can. So you start off with a really creepy sounding old guy and an overhead shot of a dead kid in a casket. Kind of strong. And I got sort of flashback to Dolls, Murgoot, to an extent. Anyway, the old guy is giving instructions for what he needs to make a doll of the child. And those details, sound sensible, an item that was very really important to the child.
Some clothes,
Some
a lock of
clothing
hair.
worn,
Lock of hair.
not washed. Yes, lock of hair.
Oh yeah.
He makes a child, and it doesn't look very convincing at all. Oh, Devonte is asking for TCG Deep Lore.
Yeah.
TCG is too handsome for you. We can't. There's only so much we can show on YouTube, you know.
There's not enough. There's not enough resolution that YouTube can handle.
Exactly.
What I'm trying to
you're not
say is,
ready for 4K TCG. No.
proper horror shows trying to be polite, but the reality is, if I revealed my face, not only would I lose subscribers, but you would lose your eyesight.
Savage. No.
Oh yeah,
TCG
I kind of did do that, didn't I? Didn't I show my eyeball or something?
Yeah, you did. You showed an eyeball.
Yeah.
And a fine eyeball it was.
I was trying to do the cross-eyed thing.
Yeah. Right. So the Dollmaker makes a creepy looking doll, not like overstated, but nicely creepy. And the mother of the dead child is really into it. Really, wants to give it a go. The husband looks absolutely dejected. Calls it a waste of money. And you get some amazing stuff. The second the mum touches the doll, it's like she's holding the boy again. And the husband really skeptical, but when he touches the doll's hand, suddenly it's a kid again. It is very well edited, amazingly well edited. The husband is freaked out by it, but the mum is into it and just instantly gives the guy the money. And the guy starts just calling the kid the brat.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's weirdly cynical the second the deal is made. He's weirdly cynical. And he's he gives you the rules, like you've got to, when you're holding the doll, you cannot hold it more than one turn of the sand timer that I'm showing you on screen now. You can't take it outside the house. It will only work inside the house, which is where the energy of the deceased is stored. All that stuff, right? So you get the rules. The rules are sort of played with over the course of the short story. The tension in the relationship is played up. You get some beautiful imagery on this sand timer with the reflections in it. And I'm going to try and not describe beyond that point if we can. Because if you haven't seen it, I would really advise you just watch it. Great stuff. Really good acting, really well chosen actors that are nice and memorable. I'll pass it over at this point. I've been enthusing wildly about this one.
Yeah, I really loved this one. I really loved it. I would again. I don't really want to say too much because you've pretty much nailed it. But I mean, as a horror, I would probably lean less on that. This for me, well, I don't know. I mean, I suppose this was. I mean, this was a great story. I think about grief and how we handle it. You know, as a dad myself, just in general, really. I mean, there's a real question to be had as to whether you could go through with something like this, like the emotional impact that could have on you. And then at the same time, you're being told, oh, but you know, you're only allowed to have it out for a set amount of time, and then after you've used it, you can't bring it out again until the following day. You only get one go, and it's like it's almost like it's almost like an impossible set of rules for someone to abide by when you're giving them this essentially like this gift, this second chance, and ultimately it's going to become a curse because, as I say, as a dad, if heaven forbid, but if I was ever in the situation like that, first of all, could I even go through with the concept of doing that? Knowing that it's not actually my child, but put your hands on it. Oh my god, it becomes your child. That's just, I mean, Pet Cemetery-esque levels of weirdness right off the bat. And then secondly, like, could I commit to that rule set? Well, no, probably not, because of it's a very heavy emotional story. But again, I don't really want to say too much. But if I was to sort of like put it up with the others that we watched so far, this was a solid sort of second on my list in terms of favorites.
Yeah. I liked it. As you said, it was similar in vibe to Pet Cemetery, where things go wrong, not following the rules goes wrong. I saw it more as a very dark, grim fairy tale.
Yeah.
The rules are set out before you and told it has dire consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And you see in the end what the dire consequences are. And it plays out like the old time Brothers Grimm tale.
Yeah.
It's 9 minutes long that they tell that tale in.
Mm-hmm.
Very effective. We did mention there's a moment of gore in it that, because of YouTube's particular policies, they've had to blur it, and it's the downside of this. It shouldn't be blurred.
It shouldn't be, but I'll be honest, I don't think it took anything away from it.
Not hugely. It's powerful enough that you notice it, but it doesn't destroy the short for you, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think it was reliant on that being uncensored. I can certainly appreciate, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think we're being so careful about the ending.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could express themselves, with that full creativity, and not have to sort of, kowtow to rules outside their control. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it took anything away from it. It was a great story for that length of time, and yeah, the through line was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought we talked about the predictability, and I thought it was going to be I thought we're getting a bit of monkey's paw stuff. Whenever you get the what's the phrase? Whenever you get a sort of doll, there's usually just sort of one question about it. Is like, is the doll actually alive, guy? And this is why I tend to be like quite touchy about those horror movies, because it's almost like there's one question that's got to be answered. And then this went completely where I did not expect it. So it was delightful for that. When you've watched as many horrors as I have, like being caught out like that was fantastic. I've just seen Little Gamba. Thank you for dropping details on there. Giving us a tip about another horror short. So I think we will look that up next time. Thank you very much. Because otherwise I'm just raiding Alta constantly for this.
Yeah.
Maybe no bad thing, but they've clearly got a good vibe here going on with the what's the phrase, aggregating horror shorts. Yeah. Oh, solid, amazing stuff. Well, I don't want to spoil it. I'm just going to solidly recommend it, because it would be criminal for me to give it away. It goes wildly off from where we discussed in only 9 minutes.
Mhm.
Did either of you have anything more to say on this one?
Well, without spoiling it, no.
Without
But I mean,
spoilers.
but yeah, Dr. Prepper nailed it. It's far more psychological horror
Mm.
Yeah.
than
Taken very
supernatural.
seriously,
Yeah.
yeah. Emotion, like it's an emotional hitter, isn't it?
Yeah, like I mean, don't get me wrong. There is the supernatural element to it because of how the doll works, and draws its energy from the spiritual energy, yada yada yada.
Mm.
But yeah, it's not something which drives the story. It, like I say, I mean, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and it's just such a messed up situation. And then, like you know, it's just going to end one way because I know that if I was ever unfortunate to be put in that position, and that was an option available to me, you know that you're not going to play by the rules. You're going to loot. You're going to go crazy.
Mm.
It essentially it is a curse that is being offered to them, but it's
Mm.
being under the guise of it being a gift, a blessing, a second chance. But it's it's messed up, man. It's messed up.
Yeah.
It's well messed up. That's all I can say. It's just messed up.
The fairy tale aspect, the Brothers Grimm, or almost a Russian-esque talk on grief, obsession, breaking the rules to keep things around you. There's a lot of emotional impact with that. And it's, without spoiling it, what happens when you break the rules.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose that the classic rule of storytelling is if we're going to tell you all the rules, they're getting broken.
Exactly.
Well, I would pitch an S.
Yep.
How about you, Murgoot?
Yep.
I don't want to peer pressure you or anything, but
Good solid.
I want to peer pressure you, mate. I'm going to peer pressure you.
I've got to say a good solid A. It didn't hit. It hit well, but it wasn't an S tier for me. It didn't surprise me. It didn't.
Oh, mate, it surprised me. It absolutely. Again, without giving too much away, the ending completely was. I was like, whoa, okay. I was
Yeah.
not expecting that.
There we go. Well, Murgoot, a respectful A is noted. I think it's a respectable A. It's a strong A, but I think I'll happily tip it. And Dr. Prepper agrees this is an S. Quite. That's the only one I insisted that we don't spoil. So I think if John Goris, if you're still around, mate, I didn't spoil that because I wanted you to enjoy it. So look it up. This is the one, guys. This is the one for me. But
definitely, yeah. So I think so. Yeah, just to sort of echo, just sort of add to that. Once you've done that, once you've finished watching that, so you can get the answers that you're looking for that you ain't going to get in this one because we're not spoiling it. Look up Man on a Train from Mini Nightmares Official, and was it Virus by Simon Hind? Lil Gamba suggested.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna add that to the list now. Actually, I'm like Chris Jericho this evening. You just made the list.
Yeah, I'll just next. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but next time I am going to try and get some rubbish ones in because I want to populate the sort of E and F ranks a little bit.
Oh, so, yeah. Okay.
Tell you what, I found one called OK Google, and I'm not having a go at him, but it's sort of like the recycled version of some of the ideas that we already got in Lights Out. So I just thought couldn't be doing with that, I'm afraid, but I want to balance it out. I'll look and also more suggestions are welcome. Otherwise, we'll probably end up rating a load of PSAs as well. Okay. Oh, Patrick Batman, thank you very much for £5. Have I seen the trailer for Late Night with the Devil? I haven't. Didn't ring a bell. Cross between the studio bits from Ghost Watch, Wahey, and Inside Number 9's The Devil of Christmas. Well, you know, I'm a huge fan of both of those. I'll admit, Devil of Christmas, on the rewatch, there are some very obvious problems with its setup and story.
Didn't we cover that?
We did.
We did, yeah.
We covered it a good, must have been a good few years ago, but
yeah.
You know, they did another Christmas story recently on Inside Number 9 and they nailed it. They had a really good one. Yeah. Oh, what was it called? The Bones of Saint something. Bones of Saint Nicholas. It's really good.
Oh, yes. Yes. Is that the one where they're sleeping overnight in a
Sleeping
church?
in a church, that's it.
Yes.
And it's
that is.
What's the name from Coronation Street?
Yeah.
Oh, really good stuff.
Yeah, recommend.
Hits you in the emotions. Yeah, Patrick Batman, I haven't seen it, but I am intrigued. I'm going to pull that trailer up now. Late Night with the Devil. So forgive me typing while I do that. And thank you again for the £5. Very much appreciated. Is anyone in this that we know? Yeah, we'll find out. I'll look into this. Oh, it looks like it's vintage.
Oh.
Intriguing. Okay, we'll have to talk about this one. And Mr. GB asking, when am I on the Spice Girl show? Well, the Kubrick episode, that I think is dropping very soon, but I don't have an exact date. And I also did Brokenomics with Dan. And we were discussing a sort of dystopian novel around economic collapse, which is The Mandibles by Lionel Shriver, which I'd recommended to him. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Dan had me on. I'm afraid, annoyingly, my microphone was kind of weird. And I know that during the course of that interview, I'm just like constantly looking down to check it's still pointing properly. And that's going to bug me so much when I watch it. But that will be Tuesday. That's going to be Tuesday.
Bloody Lotus Eaters and their boomer tech issues. What happens when you...
I was wearing a loose top, you know, and it was like if you have a firm top, the microphone can clip and stay in place, but a looser top means it can move around a bit too much. So
just blame it. Just blame it on Lotus Eaters. Just blame it on them.
What I mean is bloody Lotus Eaters. I told
Lotus
John.
Eaters. Yeah. I told you, John. I told you this blouse is too loose.
Yeah, you need lifting. There's got to be at least one shirt lifter around there who could help out. Anyway, yeah. So Dan will be on Tuesday, and you probably get the Kubrick episode. Well, heck, it could drop tomorrow. I don't know. Keep an eye out for it. It's 1 hour and 50 minutes of Kubrick talk, and that is part 1. What's this? I had to do some Sargoning if you're to become a spy. I've done all my Sargoning. You've seen me boomer my videos. Check out if you want to see the pro-life, pro-choice messaging video where I have a horrible boomerism in the first minute. Never mind. Well, folks, I think that's it. We got our rating done. We've rated 6 more horror shorts. A nice balance, actually. I thought we were going to be really skewed to the top, but we've spread them out a bit there. Yeah, good going.
Let's not leave it too long before we do the next lot. I'm really, really loving this.
I'm hyped for it.
More horror shorts.
More horror shorts. I think we could get that going in April. I should be talking about the horror homework for next week. Scheduling has ended up a bit weird for next month. You may remember I polled you all. I polled members for the channel, and I asked you, do you want obscure Wes Craven or do you want late Christopher Smith? And it went towards Christopher Smith, but I'm going to be honest. From the votes, I don't think there was enthusiasm.
Fortification.
Yeah. I don't think the hype was out. I didn't get that F curve, so I changed my mind. We had a couple of requests from people who were keen to come on, and I thought, okay, they've got something in common. We're going to go with them. So March is going to be a John Carpenter month.
Oh,
Yes, yes. Currently, because of people's schedules, it's probably going to start with a John Carpenter from the second week of March, because there's a member request I want to fulfill. So John asked about an interesting little giallo film, The Grasp of the Lorelei. I'll post it for you. I'll find it and post it for you. So I think we'll probably end up doing that next week, and then we'll be getting into John Carpenter from weeks 2 to the end of March, and that is covering They Live, covering Prince of Darkness, and we've got Harry from Lotus Eaters coming back in to cover Christine.
what?
He's never seen it.
What's he covering Christine with?
Oof. Steady you. Family friendly chat. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So I think we'll have a little chat. We'll sort it out. I think we're going to try and do that giallo, the Grasp of the Lorelei, next week. But I'll confirm all the title and details with you and post it tomorrow. Devonte, who's Harry? Is that Harry? And no, it's not Harrian. It's Harry Robinson from the Lotus Eaters. He's been on a couple of times. He's great. He does his research. He's always got an insightful thing. I think he will probably hate the movie, but we'll see how it goes. I'd like it if someone comes on and roasts the movie sometimes, you know? I like it.
No. We're too nice.
Nah.
We're too nice. You find too many good things to watch, so it's kind of like we need someone. Oh look, there we go. Bruce Campbell, Black Friday. There we go. Do that.
Oh dear. Well, to make sure we stay on the right side of Super Nanny, we should probably be rounding it off now. So you've got a provisional horror homework. I will confirm it ASAP. And we've been ranking our horror shorts, and we got the gang back together. It's all good times. And you've got a whole bunch of me on Lotus Eaters to look forward to. I'll shill for them, you know, for a mere £5, you'll get access to that and the other 2 bits of content I did with them, if you want to look that up as well. So a bargain for £5 and supporting some nice lads.
Or if you just want to buy the horror show videos and not pay for the £5, you can buy those episodes individually. Just going to throw that one out there. And I think that's what, £2, I think it is.
I think it'll be about that, yeah.
And you own it for life.
Yeah, true. There you go. I think I might have heard Carl say that a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, we shouldn't be memeing on it. All right, brilliant. Before I get into silly talk, so yeah, loads of stuff coming. Thank you very much, TCG, and thank you very much, Murgoot.
No, it's a pleasure as always. And yes, Devonte, I will be back next week. I've been a very naughty lad, taking this much time off. But yeah, back on the train now.
Real life happens. What can we say?
Exactly.
Yeah, and thanks again, Murgoot. Much appreciated.
No problem. Love being here. Thank you.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And it's basically an anthology, you know, just very disconnected one. All right. And thank you so much, chat. It's really good seeing so many familiar names in the chat here tonight, keeping it nice and lively and dropping some absolutely filthy jokes in there. Shame on you. I love them.
Oh, GB asks, when is the next detectiving? I will probably do that Saturday night, mate. I'll do that Saturday. I'll get the stream set up by sort of Friday beforehand. So, yeah, keep an eye on my channel.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, loads to come. Possibly a rogue stream in the future. Can't do it this weekend, but soon. There is a fun little rogue stream coming your way. But with that said, I will end off now. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll sign off as usual. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
In a bit.